Over the past month or so, I've been figuring out a lot when it comes to dating, but it hasn't always been that way. Some of the biggest struggles that I've had in my life has been things like insecurities when it comes to the way that I look and when it comes to just taking everything so personally when someone was judgmental or whatever someone else said. I've also struggled a lot with social anxiety and would just feel so uncomfortable whenever I would talk to literally almost anybody. And I also just had a lack of experience when it comes to putting myself out there, introducing myself, and talking to more women and just having a better and more quantitative dating life. So I lacked experience in that area. But I wanted to improve all of those things. So me and my friend, we came up with a plan to actually gain more experience, to have more confidence when it comes to women, and also to build more social skills. So what we did was message more girls on Instagram. We went and cold approached more girls in public. We went on more dates, and we just gained a ton more experience. And that was literally in the span of like a week or two. But even though I was doing all of those things, some of the struggles were not leaving because I still felt insecure sometimes. I still had some social anxiety and I was still nervous, even though I started to do those things more and more. But despite all of those things, I did and continue to do something. And what I do is still take action. I still ask girls for their numbers, and I still put myself out there despite all the social anxiety, insecurities, and nervousness. And I learned that when you do that, you won't only just get more girls, but I learned that I'm also slowly becoming more confident and I'm developing more social skills because of doing all of those things. And I'm also teaching myself to take action despite fear. Just the other day, I was about to cold approach and ask this girl for a number because we wanted to get some B-roll footage for YouTube. But this time was different because most of the other times I was way more nervous and I had to think about it a lot more. But this time I thought about it a lot less and I felt a lot less nervous. I still felt nervous, it still wasn't perfect, but regardless, I still went up to her with hardly even thinking about it. And that was because all of the challenges that I faced and the character that I developed through facing those challenges. And through all of those things, I learned something that completely changed my life. I learned that when it comes to dating, I had two choices. I could either chase the butterflies with a net, or I could build a garden and have the butterflies come to me. And chasing the butterflies with a net was what I used to do. And what that looked like was things like attachment issues or putting girls first on my priority list. I was also just desperate, and all of those things, they just led to getting less girls. But instead of doing that, I started building a garden. And what that looked like for me was prioritizing my purpose above women. I started building my character and actually maximizing my life. And something that relates to that I think is beneficial to imagine and that you can imagine with me is imagine the perfect girl comes into your life. She's beautiful, she's supportive, she's caring, and she's a 10 out of 10 in every aspect you can imagine her being a 10 out of 10 in. But what if when that girl comes into your life, you weren't ready? And because of you not being ready, she just left. And she left because you didn't build your garden. And if there's no garden in the first place, then there's nothing the butterfly can even stay in. So it makes sense that it's just going to leave. So instead of doing that, we should actually build a garden. We should build our character and maximize our life so that the woman, the perfect woman, when she comes into our life, she has a garden that she can actually come into. But if you do the opposite, it's just going to end in more chaos. And I've learned this from experience. I remember when there was this one girl, and pretty much at this time when this girl came into my life, I was addicted to video games, I was addicted to junk food, I was overweight, and I just had a bunch of issues, and I pretty much had no life. I had no purpose. I had nothing that I was striving for, and I just put girls number one on my priority list. So when she came into my life, she pretty much became my life. And then some things happened, and I had some family issues and some hardships that came into my life, and I opened up to her. I gave my trust to her, and she just left. And because I had no life and she became my life, when she left, it felt like I had nothing. And that just brought a ton of more issues. But when you build a life, when you cultivate a garden that the women can actually come into, I learned that you won't only just have better relationships, but you will also start to naturally attract higher quality women. And the main thing that I want you to walk away from this with, and that has personally changed my life, is we should focus on cultivating and building our garden first. And depending on what type of garden you build will dictate the butterflies you attract. So put in the work to cultivate your garden and build your life. So when the right girl comes, you will be ready. And I also just want to say that you are fully capable of achieving great things and actually cultivating your garden and building a life that is worth living. And once you do those things, I believe that you will, with enough patience and effort, attract the woman of your dreams. I genuinely hope you got some value out of this one. And as usual, keep working hard to make your future self proud. Click and watch this right now, and I will see you in the next video.